The two hypothetical people who watch your streams each week.
Yeah, my faithful two people.
Karate and Lefty. Yeah.
All right, where we go.
We're recording
That's
now.
That's your cue, Richard.
Okay. All
Where
right.
we go.
Cool. All right. Great. Okay. So, previously on what are you calling this campaign? All for one. One for all.
Yep.
Previously on 7th Sea, we had a one shot where a bunch of Musketeers managed to stop a rogue Musketeer captain from blowing up the fantasy Notre Dame, where a bunch of nobles were having a ball. And that's about it.
Perfect. Did you catch all that? Well, then we'll start today's session in the past. Just a few heroic days before that actually happened. Actually, before we actually jump into things. How about everybody introduces their character for a short bit, just so we know who we're working with before we jump in. And we're going to start, as always, with Jared.
Give me a second, let me open up the sheet I filled out. You haven't handed out sheets on.
I believe I gave you one, but I can check.
The only thing I see is that Uveo Yikla.
Yeah, that's yours too. Turn into your character.
Okay.
You gotta love Roll20's random name generator.
Yeah. Okay, then I need to fill that out. Copy stuff over, but I'll be playing Leon Nicolay. I can't remember if I said it was second or third son. Younger son of a minor noble from just a second, let me look at the sheets again. He's a younger son of a minor noble. The fourth son, I believe I said. And his family obviously had no inheritance for him. So about all they could do for him was pay for him to go to school to a duelist academy. And he joined the army where he exemplified himself in the fight against Castile. And got an invitation to the Musketeers. His older brother, who spends a lot of time in Charus, is a officer in the cavalry. And he's the only family that Leon's particularly close to. Leon grew up listening to stories. Used to be this big thing back when Montaigne was founded, and how they were so important to the original creation of the country after the empire fell. And so he has these dreams of restoring the family's name in front of the emperor's eyes and all of that.
Perfect. And from Leon, we head to Richard.
Yep.
And Richard's character, which he will tell us about, thusly.
Okay. My character's name is Renee. Hey, who's typing?
No one right now.
Okay.
You shamed them into silence.
Well, no, it's cool, man. Just turn on the push to talk or mute your mic or something.
I think they did.
Okay, cool. Anyway, getting back on track. Yeah, his name is Rene Beaufort. He is the third child of Duke Francis Beaufort, who was the emperor's foreign minister. He joined the Musketeers after his father was killed in the one shot the last session at the party, and he is trying to uncover. He's heard rumors that the Musketeers were somehow complicit in the act, and he's investigate. Basically trying to investigate them from the inside and get to the bottom of it.
And what son were you?
Hmm?
What son were you in the order of sons?
Oh. Second son, third child.
Gotcha. And from Richard, we move on to Rob.
Oh,
yes, what? Hello?
oh yeah, I was just gonna say one other thing is that since his father had to marry his in order to marry his mother, he had to marry her without honor. That means that Renee and his siblings basically got nothing after his dad died.
Where'd all that money go?
I'm gonna say it went to maybe his cousin or something. Like originally it was supposed to go to his uncle, but his uncle died. Let's say of I don't know, cancer or something, and now it's gone to his eldest cousin, who inherited the family estate and is now looking to turn it into the party capital of Montaigne.
Water park. It's gonna make it a water park.
Yeah, he's gonna make it a golf course.
Oh.
Waterloo.
Okay. And with that, now we go to Rob.
And Armand Savoy actually has no idea who his parents were. He grew up a street kid in Charus, something of a thief. And one day, while picking a drunken noble's pocket, he was apprehended by our commandant Jean-Marie, and given the choice of the Bastille or the Musketeers. Wasn't much of a choice, really. So here he is.
Perfect.
Well, that's like saying, would you rather go to prison or go to college?
As a guy who's going through college right now, that is a hard choice. Let me tell you. Alright, Joe, regale us with tales of daring do of your character.
All right, well, quote-unquote Sabine du Montblanc is an only child, question mark? Because her real name is actually Nicolette. She's from some small village. She stole someone else's identity. They're probably not happy about it. Because the other the actual Sabine du Montblanc was an actual, local heroine of villages and fighting off bandits. Much better than Nicolette ever could. But Nicolette is, grew up on stories of adventuring and daring do, and she's like, that's going to be me. And she went out in the world. It's a lot harder than she expected. So she had to find other ways of, being able to save towns and whatnot. She likes to party and have her fun, but when it comes to actual swordplay, she's not that great. But she's really good with throwing daggers. And she's a very good actress, and she's because mostly she's a con artist.
Well, sounds good. And with that, after I read what chat says, I will get this last picture taken care of. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My mouse is ridiculous. Just do this for me. There we go. I love it, says Richard in our comments. Faithful viewer, that guy. Alrighty, there we go. I'm finally ready. And just a quick shout out to Jared. As far as storytelling goes, someone always has to be introduced last. And seeing as it makes most sense for your character, it will be you. So.
Okay.
I pray for patience as we go through this from you.
That's fine.
Well, thank you very much. However, also in the way stories go, a character always has to be introduced first, and that character will be Armand, whose introduction takes place just a few days before our last session started. We are just outside of a tavern called the Centennial Peacock, which is very busy today with mucky mucks and poor people alike. The poor people seem more on edge today than they were yesterday because there was a that's a great name, you know it, Richard. There was a big shooting in the streets earlier today, so everybody's on the edge, as it were. But you know, some people have no time to worry about such eventualities. Some people, you know, gotta eat. Which is, you know, where our cameras pan into Armand. So, let's get a physical description of him, as we are. As he's thrust into the limelight.
Pardon me. At this point, he would be, 20-ish. Although he looks a little older than that. He's had a sort of a rough life, a lot of time outside. Sort of tanned and weathered, wears a stubble of beard that also lends to a somewhat older appearance. Dark hair, brown eyes, on the thinnish side, sort of a lithe build. And prior to donning the Musketeer blue, his taste in clothing ran towards practical garments, easy to climb, run, jump, hide, and get away in, and he favors earthy tones. Again, to assist in hiding.
Perfect. So, why is it that our boy Armand chooses the Centennial Peacock as his place to pick pockets and do nefarious acts? What is it about this place?
Well, today it's the draw of the muckety mucks that are hanging about. Look like some wealthy sorts in here for a change.
Well, hey, that's good enough for me. So yeah, we see our boy Armand scoping out the place, and when you pick a mark, what's he looking for?
In this particular instance, we see a rather portly nobleman well into his cups. His fine dress, bejeweled fingers, etc. would imply that he's rather well off. He has a fat purse hanging loosely at his belt.
And is that that fat purse that like a mouse to cheese? Armand skulks forth. We'll say this is the fellow's leaving the tavern, leaving the bar, and Armand's stalking after him. Does he just slink by it, or is he like a confidence man and has him sign the petition while he picks the purse under the board?
No, more of a casual brush in a crowd.
Well, fantastic. Yes, Armand, being a well-practiced hand at this sort of art, bumps up against a man and flawlessly manages to steal a very fat purse of coins. And you think, at last, my big score. Things are looking up for Armand from now on. And just as you get ready to tuck that bag of coins into your clothing, you feel a strong hand gripping your coin arm. And you think, this hand is far too strong to belong to this drunk old coot. And that's kind of when you whirl around and are met with the face of Jean-Marie, First Lieutenant Jean-Marie of the Musketeers. Though he's not wearing his tabard right now, he is wearing, very finely styled curly hair, down to his shoulders, an excellent goatee and mustache combo, and the fine clothing of a nobleman, as well as a rapier on his hip. And he gives you it's a fierce look, but it's far more annoyed than it is anything else. And clearing his voice, he asks you what you think you're doing.
Armand quickly begins to explain that this fine man was about to drop his purse. I'm merely trying to help him keep from losing his money. Lots of shady sorts about these days, you know.
And with that, the drunk fellow whips around as gracefully as you can expect from a drunk man. And, he kind of turns around and he sees his fat purse dangling over the air in your fat fingers. And he opens his mouth and he's like, "What the fuck?" And he goes to, drunkenly brawl with you, or whatever it is noblemen do when they find out they've been stolen from. He's going to attack you. And with another strong hand, Jean-Marie places his hand on the chest of the man. He says, "I'm a musketeer. I'm handling this." And, the guy's a belligerent drunk, so he's like, "Oh no, this punk stole from me." And he goes to push back Jean-Marie, but Jean-Marie gives him a firmer shove this time. He says, "I'll handle it." He snatches the purse from your hand and tosses it at the man. And as he looks at you, he says, "I'll deal with this one." And then, scene transition as from the monkey outside of the Centennial Peacock, we are now on the inside of the Centennial Peacock in a booth where two large bottles of beer are being sat down as Jean-Marie sits on one side and Armand sits on the other. And so Jean-Marie takes a big sigh, grabs a hold of the beer, and chugs a good amount of it down before setting it back down with a satisfied sigh. And then he looks at you, combing his fingers through his hair, and says, "Alright, so tell me your story."
Armand's eyes shift about something like a caged animal. He finally realizes that he's not going to get away. So he too takes a drink and tells his tale of woe. Poor street child, no family, having to fend for himself all these years. Plays it up, of course.
"I've only had one piece of bread in my entire life. I eat pebbles.
And it was but a moldy crust."
But of course. He nods understandingly, of course. But as he's nodding understandingly, you're like, you don't understand. You're a posh noble. And so, he's asking you, no sick elderly mother, no, crippled younger sister that you're, taking care of. Nothing like that.
A look of sadness passes across Armand's face. He looks down at his drink, back at Jean-Marie. Indeed, monsieur. None but myself.
And he gives you another nod and then kind of leans forward. He's got both his hands on the table and he's looking at you very seriously. And he says, and that's why you're nothing. If a man has nothing to protect at all, then he might as well be dead. And he takes a sip of the beer as he sits back, and then at the door, the doors of the Centennial Peacock bust open, and the drunk nobleman who you stole from just 10 minutes ago is flanked on either side by some goons. And they march right towards you. They're not joking around. They, completely block off both exits of the booth. And Jean-Marie sighs and takes a drink from his beer and he's like, fellows, can we hold this off to another day? I've had a long day, and I'm trying to discuss philosophy with a friend here. And, the drunk Frenchman, drunk Montaigne man, just blusters drunkenly and, grabs a hold of your lapel and tells Jean-Marie to beat it before he gets involved in this too. And Jean-Marie's, he's gonna look over to you and see, what's your face telling him as, he's presented with that threat.
Armand's face betrays a look of determination as he sizes up the two goons. He's not particularly concerned with the drunken noble. He knows where the real fight is.
And seeing that look in your eyes, Jean-Marie gives a smile and stands to his feet, and as he does, he bursts into motion, giving the noble a punch to the stomach and sending him reeling against the floor, and his two goons also go to grab onto Jean-Marie, but with a swift flick, his rapier's out of the sheath, and the two of them seeing this go, oh, hell no, and they run out the tavern. Jean-Marie quickly does a about face on you and holds the rapier to your throat. And he says, he sizes you up. He looks down at you along the length of his blade and gives a thoughtful squint as he's looking at you. And he asked you if you have what it takes to, put your entire person behind a cause and defend the people of Montaigne from all threats. And then he'll, do that thing from the Pirates of the Caribbean where he flips the sword over and grabs it by the blade till we're like, the hilt's right in front of you.
Nice.
Or are you ready to take care of this blade and stop an agent of oppressive government from taking you to jail?
And Armand straightens, and returns his gaze as he catches the sword hilt, looks at the sword, sort of flips it back, handing the handle back to towards Jean-Marie. And as he does so, a long knife appears in his other hand. I would prefer, I would perhaps prefer to pledge this blade.
And the last thing we see of this scene is a smile going across Jean-Marie's mustachioed face. And then somewhere far across Montaigne, we go from the bright shining ivory teeth of First Lieutenant Jean-Marie to the crackling of the campfire somewhere in rural Montaigne. It's somewhere up on a hilltop, as the nighttime sky is absolutely clear and blustering with many stars of the shiny variety. And there's a small camp made up. And as we come into this small camp, we see some boots being slid on as one fearless adventurous Sabine buttons up her, after she slides those boots on, buttons up her clothing and walks over further into the camp to take a nice swig of whatever alcohol is prepared at the camp. She being the true hero of the story, but also coming out of the camp is one slightly less important girl. So, how about we get introduced to the physical appearance of Nicolette, dear Joe?
So yeah, she's like average height, long blonde hair, sort of like looks like Kim Cattrall from young 80s Kim Cattrall. It's got like black pants, white blouse, black vest. She's got a sword belt, and with a dagger, but she uses daggers way more than she uses the sword. But yeah, she's like as she just wakes up, she goes through her regular routine of like brushing, then braiding her hair.
And Sabine, I don't know if you had a physical appearance for Sabine, but I'm going to give it to you anyway.
No problem. No problem.
Sabine is a tall, muscular, dark-skinned woman with her hair in her dark hair in medieval dreads or whatever. Very fit and muscular, and as the camera's going around, we're getting a good look at this campsite, which looks like it's made for many more people than are currently here. We get a look at the field just outside of the camp, downwind from the camp, and we see there's a pretty big bonfire burning at the moment. And if you squint at it, maybe you can see a few corpses roasting like the finest of ribs, as they are discarded with, and all their valuables and belongings are kind of spread out amongst this camp. And as Sabine finishes drinking from her cup or her glass, she dusts herself off and says, "Yep, you made for a pretty good distraction out there."
Well, I was able to catch your attention among many others.
And she'll give a little laugh, and she looks down on a burlap sack that's off with her belongings, and she gives it a thoughtful look, and then she gives you a thoughtful look, and then she'll go over to the burlap bag, and she'll toss it over to you. And this you get a pretty heavy thump as you catch in your hands, and the bottom half of it's all bloody, because of course there's the severed head of the bandit leader in the head. Or in the bag for you. And, you know, as you're like, gross, you just threw a severed head at me.
Yeah, I arched my eyebrow questioningly. And then like, I'm gonna eye the cup and then look back to her as if like I'm waiting for it to kick in.
She said, yeah, for sure. She tells you that you can take the bounty on this one. I've decided.
Oh, how generous.
And she kind of claps her hands together as she heads towards the tent. And she says, yeah, I won't be, I was doing this more to kill time than anything else. I don't think I'll be needing any bounties anytime soon.
Well, it was wonderful seeing you work. If we're lucky, maybe it'll happen again.
And she'll blush and go, She goes, if you're lucky. And she raises her hand and says, I gotta go take a piss. And she walks off outside the camp and towards towards the forest.
Sure. You know, like as I, you know, rise up, you know, I stretch out a bit, you know, eyeing the bag and then her stuff. And then her cup as, you know, I'm going to pull a little vial and slip something in her wine. So I'm like, you should give me some time. But yeah, basically then I'm going to wait for her to come back and like, you know, just offer her a drink and, you know, toast the morning.
Oh, thank you. Yes, of course. Never too early to drink is what my dad always said. And,
mine too.
And she takes sad. She takes a drink from it and kind of smacks her lips together and goes, "Man, this tastes rank."
Well, I mean, you did steal it from a bunch of bandits, so.
She goes,
or
"Yeah,
liberated.
Yeah, I guess so."
I mean, they're not known for the highest of quality. So.
No, she nods a little drowsily and says, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna lay back down. I feel kind of sick all of a sudden. Maybe it's all those burning corpses 5 feet from us."
Yeah, it's not ideal, but you know, take a nap. I'll keep watch over you.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you. And she goes to walk over towards the tent, and she, you know, as she's going towards it, she puts one hand heavily on one of the struts, keeping it up, and accidentally throws all her weight on it, and takes the whole tent down with her as she drops to the ground, all sleepy, drowsy.
Yeah, I'll at least cover up with the tent so nobody can just see an unconscious woman should they pass by. But that's when I'm gonna like rifle through her stuff and just rob her and vamoose.
Yeah, and she's got much finer liquor than what you've been drinking tonight.
Yeah.
You know, a dagger, some maps, some jerky, and then you know, the really important thing is a letter wrapped up in the highest of quality envelopes with a.
Oh yeah. And then there's like you know, a visualization as I'm looking this over, of seeing, oh, like, you know, it's just like me imagining how much better my life will be with me having this and presenting this as myself as Sabine rather than going about what I've been doing. And then just walking off into the distance. Probably taking some of the bandits' loot. Obviously, taking the head to turn that into. But Sabine Dumont Blanc will still get credit for that.
And yeah, the only noise that can be heard as Sabine walks off to her new life is the sound of crickets chirping and some random person with no name snoring in a tent. In a tent blanket. And then, after that, we head into the future, but 3 or 4 days, actually, 4 days. Where the presses are all aflutter with the news of, God, what'd I name him? Oh, Vox Populi. That's right. I'm creative. Vox Populi killed 30 noblemen in the Cathedral de Leon, and would have killed many more were he not violently stopped. Or what the all the newspapers are going on about as we go from a perfectly presentable one, everything set out. There's a cobbler advertisement to the side of the main advertisement. Then we see this paper becomes crumpled as we are introduced to Richard's character.
Hello.
Hello, Richard. Give us a...
So I should probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Describe my character, yeah, let's do that, yeah. Okay, so he is a gentleman, I'll say early 20s. Is this before he joins the Musketeers, I take it?
It sure is. This is the day after your daddy died.
Gotcha. All right then. Well, he's no, he's a his mom's from the Crescent Empire, so he's a gentleman of kind of copper skin. He's got a long, well-groomed hair that he usually keeps in a ponytail behind his head. He's probably dressed in pretty nice clothes, you know, because he's got the money for it, naturally. And unlike most people who walk around with a rapier or something like that, he's got a giant curved scimitar hanging from his hip. Much like the is in fashion in the Crescent Empire.
Yes, yes. And strangely enough, he uses it to fight a Castilian fencing style.
No, actually, I changed the character a little
yeah?
bit because someone else said they were going to be a duelist. So I was like, well, I think I'll go cavalry then.
Oh, okay. Sweet. Then yeah, that's perfect for it, yeah. Cavalier.
Yeah,
yes,
so I'll say he just got back from the war in Spain. Oh wait, no, this is right after that. Never mind.
This is actually before the war in Spain.
Right, yeah. Right after his dad died. Before the war with Spain, yeah.
See. So yeah, the news just hit you, and I imagine you are riding home to your estate, we'll say. Your familial estate. Where are you returning from? Pointed questions.
Yeah. Well, where is he returning from? Well, let's say that he and let's say he and his parents were in town. Let's say that previously his father had actually resigned his position as the Minister of Foreign Affairs to the king in protest of the king banishing everyone from the church, whose name escapes me. The Vasian Church. Yeah, Vasian Church. Yeah, but since he this is like the 4th or 5th time he's resigned his position, and because he was a very excitable man, so he'd resign his position, and then either his mom or the king or somebody would come over and they'd sort of patch things up, and he'd get hired back on, and something else would happen and he'd resign again.
Let's
say yeah. So they were in the they were in town, you know, trying to. He was trying to convince his. Came to town to try to convince his dad to not to resign. That he could do more good in the as the foreign minister. And you know, his dad and his mom were at the party, you know, trying to relax because you know they've been working so hard trying to prevent stand up for the rights of these people. Now they were just, you know, looking to take a break, and then that happened. So yeah, that's kind of where we stand right now.
Sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and say that specifically going to the ball was your idea.
Oh, okay. I wasn't really picturing him at the ball, but yeah, I guess he could be.
No, I'm just saying, like, you specifically, like, convinced your dad to, you know, take a load off and, you know, going
Okay.
to a ball will be good for you. And, you know.
Okay, I like that idea. Like maybe get him to cool off, and so they can look at it with like a level head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But tragically, that is, that turned out to not be such a good idea, as, the heroes which saved, saved just hundreds of nobles from, getting blown up, along with, one of the favorite landmarks in all of Charus, tragically, they couldn't save anybody, as the vile minions of, Vox Populi put many noblemen to the sword, and he was one of the 30 who fell victim to this terrible plot.
Yeah. I'd like to imagine maybe that the nobles weren't allowed to have weapons in there, so that was part of it, and so he was maybe like trying to shield people or something.
Yeah, he seems like a noble guy. He died a hero's death,
Yeah.
which is exactly what you'll say at the funeral tomorrow.
Absolutely. But now I suppose that maybe he and if we can edit the scene a little bit, maybe he and his mom are on the wagon or some sort of carriage, and they've got his dad's body, you know, behind them, and they're on their way home. Then.
Yeah, off to your nice chateau estate just outside of Charus.
Oh wow, he is a high muckety muck then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is a absolute buzz of activity as, like the noble Oklahoman vulture, your cousin, and many of his attendants are, you know, touring your chateau, taking detailed notes about all the all the possessions that are in the house, and you know, just making plans. You know, they're not gonna do anything until, you know, at least 8:00 p.m. tomorrow. But until then, you know.
Yeah, they gotta wait till he's at least been in the ground.
Yeah, that's right. But, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, I just came here to, you know, mourn with your family, and I brought my 16 servants to, you know, help me out with that. And it's very thoughtful of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So give me
Well-
a description of your cousin. Let me hear this guy.
Okay. Well, I think it'd be convenient if we want this guy to be a part of the plot that maybe he has some sort of position in the government. You know, maybe he's like a I don't know, maybe some sort of general, or maybe he's or you know what, maybe he's even like an ambassador for the king. And now that my father's dead, maybe he's, you know, in a great position to step up and take over his old job.
Could be.
Physically, I'm thinking maybe he's like, oh, I don't know, maybe in his like early to mid 30s. He's got a little bit of a paunch, you know. He's a little portly, but he's not obese or anything like that. He's not a Baron Harkonnen. Although now that I say that, I kind of want that. But no, he's got a little bit of a paunch, and he's probably got like a I imagine him as like balding, but he's wears like one of those wigs that's in fashion, and he's got a very finely kept beard and mustache. You know, it's all the rage.
Man, balding when you're 30, that's tough.
I just realized that I described a guy that I game with in real life. Yeah.
That's very disrespectful to Rob. I want you to apologize right now.
Well, I meant in person, but
I'm joking. God.
yeah, but yeah, trying to think of any other notable physical features. I don't know. Perhaps he's got his left ear pierced.
Nice.
He's like the cutting edge of fashion, man.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I love him.
Awesome.
Sorry, I was reading something. Yeah, so as you, are coming in on that carriage ride, just so distraught from the death of your perfect. So distraught from that. Yeah, he greets you guys at the gate of your chateau, and his face is made up to where it looks like he's been crying all night. You know, very nice of him to do that for everybody's sake. As you get off, he immediately has some of his servants help you get the body and go to work with that. And he approaches you and he goes, "Yeah, what's your name? Renee? Yeah, Renee. Perfect. Yeah. I have a theater teacher named Renee."
You have a what teacher?
A theater teacher.
A feeder teacher?
Yeah. For the theater.
Anyway. Oh, theater. Okay. I heard feeder, and I was like, what on earth?
What is he talking about?
Yes. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, so, he goes, "Oh, Renee, he puts his hand up on his forehead. "I'm so distraught to hear the fate of your father. Come here. And he gives you a good, strong hug for a man in his position.
Okay, Renee kind of returns his hug, but it's like in a very slow, kind of awkward way where he's like, anyone looking can be like, I really don't want this guy hugging me, but now it's kind of awkward.
Let me just say, it just couldn't happen to a better man. Gosh, of all the good he's done for everybody, and to die like that, and he looks one way, then looks another way, then kind of leans up towards you and goes, "At the hands of the captain of the Musketeers." Oh, imagine.
I heard about that too.
Such scandal. Yeah.
Indeed.
What'd you say? Sorry, pardon?
Yeah, he just said, yeah, I heard about that too. It's shocking.
Yeah, it certainly is. So, how's your dueling going? How's that career shaping up?
Well, I dropped out actually, and now I'm in the cavalry.
Oh yeah. I forgot you dropped out.
Yeah, but listen, I really appreciate you guys coming over and helping us out here. And he kind of like waves his hand, to the side. But we'd kind of like to be alone tonight to mourn in peace, and then we're gonna make funeral arrangements tomorrow, and then probably bury him the day after that. You are, of course, invited.
Oh yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, no. I get it. I get it completely. I get it. You know, you gotta mourn, you gotta do everything, and you know, he presses his fingers together and says, you know, and of course I'll take care of your sister and mom when you're gone and everything, you know, as any noble man should do. He's like, I've already had this talk with your brother, so I'm kind of just trying to pull that band-aid off. But you know, your dad left behind a generous inheritance to me, and God, you know, the market's just right to strike. So you know, there's no easy way to say this. So you know, a week after we bury your father, I'm gonna need all your stuff out of the chateau.
He like gives him a look like, really, and he says, could we please have this discussion another time?
Yeah, no, sure, yeah, you know, whenever you're ready, you know, all the time in the world, you know, anytime you're ready to talk about this, I'm there for you. But I do need you out 1 week from now.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. I'm gonna go talk to your sister. Good talk. I'm very sad for everybody. All right, bye.
All right then. Well, that was something. He's probably going to turn to his mom and be like, "Can you believe this guy?"
And she shakes her head and goes, his body's not even cold yet, and the vultures descend.
That's the way of it, though.
Yep.
I
guess that's what happens when you marry for love in Montaigne.
What did he mean by he spoke with Edgar, though? I thought Edgar, since he's you know, ordained, I thought he was out of the country now. Is he back? Have you heard something?
I don't know. It's like maybe he hasn't heard that fact before, and he just, you know, he was lying or making up a story or something.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Maybe he didn't have the full story. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe it's like, you know, someone's writing a book on our family's history, and he hasn't read it yet.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it hasn't been published.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think about life, you know?
Indeed.
All right, I'm in mourning. I'm going to go to my room and, you know, cry and tear my hair out. Good day, son.
Okay, he gives her like a half hug on her way out.
She returns it.
Well.
Somberly.
Okay, so while she's doing that, he's going to, you know, direct the house's servants, you know, start getting things set up. You know, probably find a place to put the body, you know, making funeral arrangements, you know, to bury him in the family state's graveyard and that sort of thing.
Yeah, of course. You're probably so rich you got a room just for, you know, just for the case where a family member dies. You got that room to put their body out on a table for the wake and everything like that.
Yep. Normally he plays pool in there, but I guess he could get them to move the pool, the billiards table to another room.
Yeah. What are servants for? Am I right? All right.
Exactly. We pay him. Well, I guess the other guy pays him now.
Yeah, so the, you know, the whole family is, the whole family, you know, is mourning in their own way. Your sister, who may or may not exist, and may or may not be a nun, is doing whatever she does.
Gotcha. Knowing her, she's probably going to be writing a play about it.
Right. She's a playwright.
Yes.
From what I picked up from that sentence.
Yeah. A very populist one at that.
Good on her, you know. All right, yeah. Seeing as you know, I hand it to you now, sir. Give me Renee's point in his life where he was like, "I'm gonna infiltrate the Musketeers." I had like 15 minutes to think up something.
So, like, if we can kind of like do a montage over the next few days, you know, like,
That song's playing.
it's pretty common knowledge that the captain of the guard was involved in it, right? They didn't try to cover that up or nothing, right?
Correct.
Oh yeah, the captain of the Musketeers, yeah. But I'm gonna say like after the initial shock, there were started to be rumors that that there were other senior members of the Musketeers who were involved in the plot as well, and that if that bomb had gone off as intended, you know, and like slaughtered all these nobles, then some of the key members of the Musketeers and the other branches of the military would like rise up and seize power and just you know, basically put the emperor under house arrest and take over the government. And I'm gonna say, you know, a few days after the funeral, maybe he's going to sneak back onto the family estate, you know, after they've been kicked out, and stand at his father's grave and swear that he's going to get to the bottom of this and find out those who are responsible for this still walk the earth, and bring them to judgment.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it.
And maybe he's going to take some kind of memento off the grave to remind him of that, help him keep focused. Maybe like, I don't know, like a rock or something, or like something with his family seal on it, or I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. It's in vogue for currently for Montaigne noblemen when they're, you know, buried, for someone to you know, hire a very nice mason to get a stone and carve your family's crest in it. So you can have both.
Cool.
And you know,
Not like a huge rock, but like something he can put in his pocket.
yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
And you'll never regain the money and the acclaim that your family once had under your father, but so
Probably
help you,
not.
you'll get that honor back. And then somewhere off in Montaigne, there's a noble soldier doing his duty vigilantly, and soon, but not right now, his time will come. But for the moment, we go back to Armand, who is packing up what's left of his belongings. Where does Armand live when he's, you know, a poor street urchin?
Oh, some sort of sad little dive.
And what possessions does he bear on himself to pack up to go to boot camp?
A few articles of clothing, his two rather wicked-looking long knives, a leather roll containing a set of fine tools.
Oh, excellent.
And a rather largish lens mounted in a brass and wooden handle.
And as you are gingerly stuffing those artifacts into your rucksack, there is a knock at the doorway of your establishment.
Armand, not expecting anyone, he quickly approaches the door, opens to see who is knocking.
And there, sitting across from you in a not too fancy dress, looking not too rich and well fed, is Zarita Pirelli.
Ah, Zarita!
And
Come in.
She has both her arms crossed, and her face in a scowl, and one eyebrow raised higher than the other eyebrow. And then she...
Armand's taken aback. What's this?
So she cocks her head to one side and says, "So, you're abandoning me in this slum so that you can rub elbows with the rich and famous?" Is that what I hear?
But of course not. I would never abandon you. He looks about and says, although I am forced to a change of circumstance, shall we say. And he proceeds to tell her the story about how he was apprehended and sort of given a choice to maybe make a little better for himself or definitely be taken away from her.
And so she, with teary eyes, puts her hands on her hips. Whoop, whoop. And you think, oh God, no! Not that pose. She says,
the waterworks.
so you're not abandoning me, but you are leaving me?
And Armand explains that in this this new position, he will be able to help her far more than he can here. And he gestures about the sad little squalorous room.
And, she looks down at her feet and says, yeah, it's if you even remember me when it's all over.
Armand laughs at that. Puts his arm around her shoulder, sort of hugs her to him. Ah, mon cher, fear not. I will never forget you.
And, she'll give the hugest sigh ever performed by a lady in all of Montaigne. And she
That must
says,
truly be an epic sigh.
and I'm the biggest fool in all of Montaigne for believing you. And with that sigh, she will plant a kiss on your cheek and whisper to you that it's for good luck. And with that, you bid farewell to Zarita for the foreseeable future, as your strings of fate are now intertwined, but for the moment, far apart.
Before she goes, Armand slips her what few coins he has.
Do you just like sneak them into her bag, or are you like, yo,
Actually, you know what? I rather like that.
Perfect. Then she goes off, and you, with the blessing of a fate witch, head off to a part of town that you long thought out of your reach, to Le Chateau de la Vie. And, as you arrive there, there's about... Wait, can Armand read? That's an important question before we go too far.
I had not given that any thought. Yeah, he's a fairly bright fellow. I suppose he's managed to teach himself to read somewhere along the way.
Excellent. Then in that case, you arrive at Le Chateau de la Vie with about 50 other bright-eyed looking fellas. Among them, young Sabine and young Renee. Not next to each other, because that would be weird, but scattered throughout the, but, scattered throughout the assemblage of 50 scrapping-looking young fellow. You notice that you are, other than this scrappy-looking blonde girl, you are in the vast minority of peasant to noblemen in this party. It's probably you two and then like one other peasant, and everybody else is in very nice clothing, and they all...
She's not dressed like a peasant. Because she stole someone's identity.
Well, I'm just saying, even if you're not dressed like a peasant, you're not dressed like a noble person either. You can only adventure to such a economic level, I think.
I mean,
you're right. You got a bounty for a bandit
con
leader.
artist, and she's got that. So
Very well, Armand, you're the only smelly peasant in this entire assemblage. Everybody else is the third or fourth son or daughter of some nobleman or the other. And they're all assembled before Jean-Marie, who just a few weeks ago became the general captain of all the Musketeers.
The only smelly peasant, yet Armand somehow manages to convey himself with dignity.
Yeah, he is noble if he is not a noble.
More noble than me.
Yeah, Jean-Marie welcomes everybody. Even now, the whole chateau is a hive of activity as messengers are going back and forth to all the musketeers throughout Montaigne, letting them know of the turn of leadership and what happened to Captain Robert, and if anybody has any information about Robert or the Vox Populi, to please put that information forth now. And it's very much post Kennedy assassination in the chateau at the moment, but nonetheless, the wheels of life keep on turning, and as the old generation goes out, the new generation stands ready to shoulder their duties, which is what Jean-Marie tells everybody right now, giving them all greetings for their induction into the Musketeer Academy, where you will spend the next 3 years getting to know one another, as well as the skills and trade required to be one of the most noble of all callings, one of His Majesty's Musketeers. And with that, we have a little bit of a skip forward of 6 months, as you guys, get into the groove of being a musketeer. Now, you guys are, of course, cadets, so the first 6 months of musketeer training involves you guys being nowhere near any other musketeers other than your superior officers, as you are shacked up in the barracks outside of the chateau, which are intentionally, too small and too few for how many people there are right now. You spend most of your times sweeping the streets and, gardening and everything outside of the chateau and keeping, the local neighborhood clean. And also just learning basic arithmetic and everything like that, making sure you guys aren't complete idiots. But everything was kind of put to a halt as across the channel, a fleet of Castilian soldiers landed, and absolutely, like a knife through butter, just cut straight through Montaigne all the way to Charus, as if they knew just where to hit, because all the armies of Montaigne were along the border of Eisen and, in different locations, and they weren't really ready for this attack. So these guys were led by a fanatic of the Vaticine Church, who managed to gather up a strong army to take Charus over, depose the nobility, and put in its place a cardinal, which would rule over Montaigne. And this is, in response to Emperor de Leon kicking every priest and church out of Montaigne and declaring it an atheist state. So this army just swept through a good swath of Montaigne, and classes and everything at the academy were actually canceled as the entire chateau was evacuated, and you guys were moved over to Le Chateau de la Soule, where the emperor and the royal family currently stays. As every other musketeer in Charus was also brought there to reinforce the gates and everything and make sure it's well defended while the army proper, battled through the streets and tried to keep the army back, but it was all in vain as the forces... Yeah, Jared knows what's up. As the forces of the military proper were driven back all the way to the gates of Chateau de la Soule. And before we go to the next scene, I guess I'll ask what you plebs were doing when all this was happening. While the fight roared just outside the gates of the, of the chateau, what were you noobs put in charge of doing?
Well, I'm currently in the army, aren't I?
That's true. You are you're off being a hero somewhere else while this is happening. So, fear not, for your moment it cometh.
Armand has been given the glorious task of inventorying the pantry.
Very nice, because, even if there is a war going on, the Emperor is not going to go hungry during all of this. So you're put in charge of making sure none of the soldiers or, other parasitic nobles currently hid out in here are taking more than they're allowed. It's a small duty, but vital to the war effort. Oh, and what was Renee doing?
Renee's probably really pissed that they aren't letting them fight. He's like, well, I mean, what good is all this training gonna do if if we can't defend our homeland? This is kind of what we're here for. But so I imagine that he's probably gonna he's probably gonna be peeling a lot of potatoes for getting into arguments with his commanding officers about this. But I also imagine that maybe he and a few of the other nobles that he's made friends with since he joined up, maybe they are sneaking out and doing like night raids on the advancing army. Not really killing a lot of people, but maybe like stealing horses and trying to disrupt communication and that sort of thing.
All right.
Maybe even another player character is helping him out with that.
Probably. Just to keep up appearances. It's like, oh shit. I don't disagree with the Castilians, but I kind of have a reputation to keep.
There you go.
There we go. All right. So, finally the point comes where, the army kind of lays in waste. Pardon me. I just hit puberty all of a sudden. The army's way to laced, and Jean Marie and God, what's his face, Remy of the Lightning Guard. It becomes apparent that the chateau is going to have to hold off any further advances. So all the musketeers are being gathered up and trained. You guys are, I don't know the equivalent, the man of arms equivalent. You guys are like given rifles, and you're like, all right, you haven't even like hit your weaponry training yet, despite some of you actually being in the army. The training proper hasn't occurred yet, and they're just like, all right, aim these at at whatever your officer points to. Good luck. And there's but the smallest contingent of soldiers outside the gate as the enemy makes its final push towards Le Chateau de la Ville, and Jean Marie anticipates those guys are going to last about 10 minutes before we're forced to go into battle. So, be prepared as everybody, grips onto their, things behind the barricades and everything and gets ready. And then, 10 minutes pass, and then 30 minutes pass, and then it's an hour. And then 16 hours later, the Castilian army has been completely driven out of Charus, as there was one, just as the enemy was about to break the gates, there was one scrappy young corporal in that barricade who managed to hold off the entire advancing army with his this small little group of buddies, and then they managed to round up a few more guys and able to just completely push out the army all together. And this was a young man named Corporal Montague, and he bought all the armies proper enough time to actually arrive in Charus and drive off the Castilians, and managed to save all of Charus. And he instantly becomes a celebrity. It's not a month later that he is promoted as the High General of all of Montaigne, and is married off to Le Emperor's youngest daughter, Dominique du Montaigne, as he went from a peasant corporal and then just instantly became like one of the most important people in all of Montaigne, and everybody loves this dude. The Emperor's, throwing Mardi Gras beads on his shoulders. Every noble in Montaigne's inviting him to this ball or that ball, and he's going places. You're right, Armand. But that was not the only daring tale of heroism in the War of Southern Aggression, of Castilian aggression. There was one other person who kind of made a name for himself out there, and that was a fellow by the name of Leon, who was set the scene for me. Set the scene for me, Leon. You were stationed at a cannon, is that what you said?
It was, let's just say, I can't remember what that river's called there. The one that runs west of Charus.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the Seine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot I can ping. Let's just say like right there. I was part of a rifle squad that was supporting it, and our lines were pushed back, and I saw the cannons on the hill get taken, and I led a countercharge which retook those cannons, and then I used them to effect to hold the hill for the next I think I said 3 waves of Castilian attack until the rest of the army could reorganize and push back up to join us. Basically doing a Custer's last stand, only I got reinforcements.
Mm-hmm. And everybody, very proud of you. Though your holdout was just as heroic as Montague's. Right place at the right time. You defended a hill. He defended the Emperor. So.
Yeah, there's a little bit of difference.
Yeah, so he got to be High General, but you were offered the chance to, for maybe an even higher calling, offered the chance to become one of His Majesty's Musketeers. Which I'm assuming you took because, boy, this would be awkward.
Yes, I definitely did. It's a way to greater chance to get my family name, since the Emperor has lately been focused too much on nobles who bought their titles instead of those who earned them.
That's right. And entirely coincidentally, that hill is now named Nicole Hill. Very very honorable. And so, the war cools down for a few months, and our boys are moved out of the Les Chateaux de la Soul and back to the humble Les Chateaux de la Vie. Back to return to their studies once more. Only a new member is introduced to them at the academy. the captain introduces him to you as all the academy goers are sat out on parade, you know. And he introduces everybody to Leon Nicolay and tells them of his exploits and tells everybody to be good to him.
For appearance, Leon is a short, wiry young man with brown hair just above his shoulders. The ubiquitous Montaigne mustache and little goatee bit.
Very nice. Jean-Marie will be pleased that his style is taking off.
Becomes part of the uniform code for Musketeers.
Even the women must have mustaches. Hey, very nice. There we go. So the first year is basically all about foreign politics and getting everybody to be kosher with that sort of rag. And so you're learning the Musketeers are the national police force of Montaigne, so they are above even the city guard and everything, and they're in charge of making sure all royal edicts are taken care of. They solve, when they can, disputes between noblemen and peasants. They are Renaissance men, if ever there were one. But they also are in charge of escorting foreign dignitaries and everything like that. So it's very important you know the laws of the land as well as how to treat any foreigners you come across. So a lot of the education the first year is dealing with that. Every day you wake up at 6 a.m., have a nice breakfast, do 12 hours of labor, and then you have a nice 4 hours of of peace and quiet before you go to sleep, and you do it all over again. An hour of that used to be dedicated to going to church, but that's no longer an option. So so your free time has certainly benefited from there being a lack of religion in this godforsaken country. So yeah, they teach you things like if you're talking to a Vodice couple, make sure you kiss the hand of the wife and introduce yourself, and then address all business with her husband. And other than that, don't even look at her, basically. And if you come across a member of the Vendel League doing something illegal, you very politely ask him to stop. And if he doesn't stop, you ask him for the name of his guild and guild master. And if he doesn't stop or give you the name, then you're to leave the scene and tell your superiors, and otherwise don't bother them. They're too important to have you guys mucking up with that. So with that, I would like everybody to give me a wit scholarship.
Scholarship.
Well, this is awkward.
And don't forget, you get a bonus dice for this being the first time you use this particular combination in a roll.
Yeah,
Let's see. What's
Hey, that's too bad.
die? So what are we specifically rolling for? Do we need to describe an approach?
No, this is me just seeing what the class rankings are.
Okay.
None of us are exactly up there.
Oh, well, if this is for that, then since I come from a family of diplomats and stuff, could I get a bonus die?
I'll give it to you. That makes sense.
Excellent.
I'm easy.
So, yeah, it's just our learning, what we've learned, or
Yes, this is basically, you know, how well you're doing on the written tests and everything.
okay.
What a bonus
One-
die that was.
A whole 2. Oh, well, I rolled well first time anyway, so we're good.
1 raise.
I got 2.
All right, it looks like, you know, everybody's really doing pretty okay with everything. Everybody seems to be about on the
Can I
same
try to
level.
cheat?
You know, John Marie's like, they won't be the brightest bunch of soldiers, but
So, I guess this is a question I should have asked. Could I try of cheating?
I'm gonna say no for right now. For future roles, you know, absolutely, I'll let you cheat. But this is
I've got hide. I could crib sheet this.
so.
Well, and Armand can steal the answers and then work with the.
I
Sabine.
could just seduce the smartest guy in class.
It's definitely none of us.
Yeah. So, 3 of our boys are doing all right. They're passing. They're right in the middle of the class. A young man named Pierre is doing. Actually, he only got 2 raises too. Never mind. Pierre's right there with you guys. He's an idiot as well. Tragically, so for some reason, this noble lady Sabine, she's just having a really hard time, strangely, dealing with some of these concepts, and she's kind of falling behind you guys. And
Use my 1 raise to do good on the foreign diplomatic stuff. Everything else, I'm like, whatever about locals.
So Sabine, I'm gonna have you take a dramatic wound for
What?
this. Yeah, you're not injured, but you know your morale it's a little bit beaten up. As you
That's
see,
okay. That gives you an additional body.
yeah, you definitely didn't fail. There's a good amount of people that got cold in this first year, and you weren't one of them because you got at least 1 raise. But as you see yourself at the bottom of the ranking, you know, you grip your fist and you're like, I will do better next time.
Should have used dynamic approach.
That's right. I will fence my way to victory. I will tempt my way to victory.
I could just change which atomies to panache.
I could just throw my daggers at the test.
But also in this
If
year,
this was an oral exam, I would have been great.
in this year, some friendships were also made. Yeah. In particular, if you look on the map, I have some arrows pointing towards people. So let's start out with telling the tale of how Armand and Renee kind of bonded. What happened in this first year where the 2 of you were like, you know, had a friendship that's going to last throughout the entire academy? Give it to me. Let's hear it.
Well, were we, Rob, were we on the Nightingales together?
Sure, I like that.
Okay. So yeah, we were part of the group of noblemen who would sneak out at night and you know, try to harass the army, the invading Castilian army.
All right, great. Give me the story of how you 2, you know, that one adventure that really thrust you 2 into friendship.
Well, I don't know, Rob. Would you say that doing these raids was your idea, or would you say it would be my idea?
Oh, I think it was your idea.
Okay. Or you know, better yet, let's say I was peeling potatoes one day, and while you were doing inventory, and you know we just started talking about it, and we were like, you know what, we should do something, and you were like, yeah, we should do something, and we just sort of like we're like, you know, I've got a friend who could help out, and I've got a couple friends to help out, and then you know that was that. So, yeah.
Armand, given his former lifestyle, has found a way out of the chateau. Sort of has that to bring to the table.
Oh, excellent. And Renee actually went to the academy. I don't know what the academy's called, Grin, but he went to the academy because he has the edge. So he probably knows the like rudimentary stuff of like, you know, how to organize a raid and like get done what needs to get done.
So were you borrowing some noblemen's horses to do these raids?
I imagine most of us probably like had our own horses. I don't know, Rob, what would you say?
Maybe we do have to borrow mounts after we climb our way out of the chateau or something.
Okay. Sounds good to me. And one of our objectives is to steal horses from the invading army too. So we could maybe kill two birds with one stone.
Perfect.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll say that. You know, now in the Chateau de la Soul, there's a few. Strangely enough, there's a few Castilian like thoroughbred war horses like hanging around, and nobody really knows where they came from. But Lemper's like,
It isn't it?
"Ah, new horses, excellent. Send that man a fruit basket, whoever gave them to me."
Ah.
Armand just silently grins as he curries one of the horses.
Oh, you don't want to take credit for it, man?
Oh, we can if you want. I kind of think not, maybe.
Okay, yeah. Let's say we're like sworn to a pack of silence then.
Good decision. You avoided peeling potatoes for the rest of your time at the academy.
Fair enough. Oh, that's gonna happen anyway, because even though he's sneaking out, he's still gonna give his commanding officers crap about it and be like, "Hey, we should be doing something other than sitting on our asses." You know, I mean, training is all well and good, but maybe we should put that on the back burner until, you know, we don't have an army literally at our doorstep.
Potatoes now. But these two were not the only ones who made friends with each other. For Sabine and Leon, both kind of had a bond of friendship as well. How did that come to be?
Let's see. That's gonna be a little bit more difficult. I mean,
Let's see.
You're right. Those two had a war to bond over. You guys have history classes.
I know. I named the Nightingales, and I didn't even get to go steal horses with them.
hold on. Who's the?
You can still be a member.
I have here.
I was one of the founding members.
Chris, is Renee the other arrow I'm drawn to here? I'm not.
Let's see.
Because
And this is post the war, because that's post wars when Leon joins the Musketeers, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, what are you asking, Jared?
is this Renee who the other arrow on? Because if so, I can kill two birds with one stone.
I believe Leon makes friends with Armand and
Okay.
Sabine.
So that's Armand there at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's more difficult because I was just going to use my brother. Let's see.
All right. So, Leon.
Well, regardless, my older brother, the cavalry officer, spends as much time as he can in Charus anyway. And seeing as I'm a war hero, he's probably dragging me out to these social events to use my name to get himself introduced to someone, since his goal is just to get married.
Oh, and I totally find out that you're going to these social events. I'm like, you cannot go dressed like that.
Yeah, you could be my companion.
No,
companion,
please.
so I don't get hit on.
Allow me to take care of this, because you need to look proper should you go to these events, and this will not do. So I basically force myself, invite myself alongside you, and guide you through the event.
That works for me. So yeah.
Alright, you guys are, I don't know, wingmen or something like that?
Sort of a blocker's position, since Leon has no interest in getting married.
And so your brother's trying to get you married, or?
No, my brother is trying to get married himself. He wants to find... He's the third brother of the family.
Okay, and
he wants to find himself a wife that has a dowry or a business or something, so he can retire and have money.
How typical.
Yeah. Minor nobleman, what do you expect?
Yep. But yeah, that's like, every time it looks like somebody's, chatting you up, I'll swoop in to save the day from you. It's like, oh, Leon, you promised me this dance, and then I force you to dance with me. But I'm leading because apparently you're not very good at it.
Nope.
Perfect. So,
I thought they taught you. I thought, all nobility were taught how to dance properly. I mean, I clearly was.
My family are not nobility of the gown, and there's not many occasions to dance out in the Tweel. Yeah, how do you pronounce it? Twille?
yeah,
Sounds
toilet.
fine.
Yeah.
Toilet.
Yeah, Western Coast.
Perfect. Yeah, people are starting to buy that Sabine's a noble woman after all.
Mm.
I mean, she's hanging out with such an eligible bachelor after all at all these parties. Surely. Yeah, and winter comes and things at the academy kind of slow down as everybody kind of retreats into the chateau. All the major nobles in all of the land head towards the Chateau de la Soul to party it up for 3 months and in style up there. And basically all the minor nobles and schlubs head to the Chateau de la Vie, where they are entertained by the administrator of the chateau, and you guys are, shacked up in your barracks, all huddled around a wood fire stove, keeping warm, and luckily it's only 6 hours of labor every day now. They're cutting you a break for the winter, but soon enough the ground thaws and warmth has once again returned to Montaigne. Another year is here, and it's sure to be an eventful one, as almost immediately Le Emperor Leon declares war on Castiel for their offenses last year. And under the command of General Montague, a vast army is launched at the Castilian aggressors. So he can liberate the entire country of the ilk of the Vatican Church. And with the army, so too goes Captain John Marie. He is seen less and less around the chateau as he is forced to split his time before here in the front lines as he commands many of the combat ready soldiers. So taking... It's not like Marie was directly in charge of your training, but he came in every few weeks to see how things were going. But now the person directly in charge of your training is a man by the name of First Lieutenant Roubois, who is a first lieutenant. He's famous for being a very sorry, Roubois is a different character. This is Simon Roublard. He's famous for being a very famous, you know, some Musketeers are soldiers, some are like detectives and stuff like that. He's one of the detectives, and he's very famous for being very fair and even-handed, and he's like the person that they send in if they think like a noble person needs to be convicted, because he's like the person like the judges trust the most to have like real evidence and stuff such as that. So he's currently in charge of your training, and yeah, he's gonna find stuff out. By your posture and your heavy brow, I'd say that you're a filthy peasant. Anyway, yeah, but as the year starts, only 30 of the original 50 remain. Many of them fled during the war, just couldn't cut training, or couldn't cut the academic standards that the Musketeers were looking for. So it's only 30 of you now, and things are getting a bit more cozy as you guys enter into the training area today, and you are presented with racks upon racks of rapiers and EPAs and cutlasses, as the second year is where they start training you physically in the way of the sword and, you know, athletically and things such as that. So I guess I should say, what weapons do your characters pick up? What are they drawn towards? What's their fighting style suited towards? Renee, of course, has to, you know, go privately with Simon and be like, listen, I need a scimitar.
Yeah, maybe, you know, one of the guys involved in the training was like a friend of his dad, so he was able to pull a few strings.
Yeah, sweet. Sounds good to me. So, you know, Renee is very inconspicuous as the only person with this weird-looking sword.
Armand just doesn't take to the swords well at all, but he is quite fast with a pair of long knives.
Very good, very good. Yeah.
Arch my eyebrow at that.
Leon is quite good with the epee or the rapier, as well as just about any thrown or fired weapon.
Yeah. Sabine, you know, wields an EP and you know, a parrying dagger, but more often than not, she's throwing the dagger.
Sounds good to me. And yeah, as you guys pick your own fighting styles, the various instructors, you know, are working with you for the good part of a year, refining your style. And though some of you are duelists, you know, you always got something else to learn. You were taught your dueling style, and you know, they're teaching you what you might encounter out there in the world and how to counter it. And, you know, working towards your strength, and more importantly, how to work as a team to shore up each other's weaknesses, and blah, 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 blah. This goes on for a year. But also going along with this is the physical conditioning and such like that. So the labor you have to go through, you know, 12 hours a day, gets shortened to a measly 6 hours a day, as it was in the winter, as that gets taken over with you guys running laps around the chateau. You know, various conditioning things that the Musketeers have you doing. Simon, you know, sits in a carriage with a bullhorn, and you guys yelling at you guys if you have to, you know, chase after the carriage, stuff like that. And then the climax of the year, of course, is when the big Musketeer obstacle course is really is brought out for you guys as you everybody prepares to show off what they can do at the end of it. And so if everybody would, how about you roll a 1d5 and we'll see who gets paired up with what. Alright, so Rob and Renee, Armand and Renee, are going to face each other on this obstacle course, and Leon and Sabine are also going to friend versus friend. Oh yeah.
Lose your buys the beers.
Try not to go too hard on me, hon. I hate to leave you on your own next time your brother comes calling.
I think I could handle myself now. And you wouldn't want me to go easy on you just because.
Well, you can handle yourself around your brother, sure, but can you handle yourself around all those women?
Okay, so everyone got their we'll see who manages to pass this first, and then we'll find out. All right, so which brave pair would like to encounter the obstacle course first? It's a three-parter with various challenges to be seen.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I'm game.
Yeah. Let's just go low to high. It's easier.
Yeah, sure. All right, so today Leon and Sabine are brought before the obstacle course. Young Pierre managed to beat his opponent. You know, he's still in the running. One day I'll actually describe who Pierre is instead of just saying a random name. But he's there. Trust me. So the pit is clear and you guys are brought forward. It's a three-part challenge. This here obstacle course. The first obstacle is a narrow wooden bridge crossing a wide and muddy bottom, pit that was dug out and filled with mud and stuff. After that, there's another muddy pit, but for this one you have to jump over it, grab onto a rope, and then swing to the other side. And the final part of it is a very tall wooden wall that you have to scale over and get to the other side. So these will be 3 rounds. The first round will take 1 raise to accomplish. The second will take 2 raises to accomplish. And the third will take 3 rounds to accomplish. And as we go through each round, there will be various challenges and stuff that I might introduce. So, give me your approaches to how you're going to first cross this narrow wooden bridge.
Obviously, athletics and I'll just run swiftly across it.
Sounds good.
So it's a narrow beam, you said?
Yep.
So as I'm rushing up to it, I'm gonna start doing a little tightrope thing, and then just sort of handspring across, as in do a little bow before the judges.
Very good.
So panache and perform.
I'll take it. Don't forget you get an extra dice for this being the first combo that you're doing today, and you also get to roll 2 extra dice for having dramatic wound.
And 1 for the flavor?
Yep.
Cool. So... dramatic wound. flavor. No.
It should automatically add in the extra die if you hit the button and have it.
Well,
check on the
they don't
sheet.
give you the flavor die
Yeah.
because they only give you an option for one bonus die. So just write it out. It's easier.
Alrighty, so what are the races that we got going?
So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 raises. No unspent dice.
I got 3.
Okie doke. Yeah, as you guys are running along, you notice that the boards are not entirely, actually, they're not, really in place all that well, and as you're going across them, they kind of, bend and shake this way and that they will require, an extra raise to, not fall down into the grime and the muck. Yeah, sure, I pay it.
Okay.
So is there any opportunities?
Actually, yeah, totally. As specifically for Sabine, because she's the only one that's not wounded. But as you're sailing across the beams,
No, I am wounded.
I'm the one that's not wounded.
yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. You know, as you're sailing across the cool breeze, getting out athletics, you're like, you know, maybe, just maybe, I'm worth something after all, and you can actually heal back a few points for each raise you want to spend.
So, how does that work? One raise to heal the dramatic wound?
I'll say it this way. Anybody can invest however many points they want into getting to the finish line. So, you know, it takes one to, like, not drop in the mud and be embarrassed. And then there's the additional thing, if you can spend as many raises as you want to, like, heal up any flesh wounds that you got going on.
I don't think anyone has any flesh wounds.
He's talking about spending a raise to heal your dramatic wound.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was asking. So I was just clarifying because there is the difference between flesh and dramatic.
This is true. There is, but yeah.
Yeah. It gives me a bonus die though.
Yeah, but if you lose again, remember you're competing against all 4 of us, not just against me, ranking wise.
Yeah, but it helps me do better. So can I spend raises to like actually just like impress the judges with like my ridiculous?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Yeah, I should just say right from the start. Anything that you want to be like, can I spend a, you know, feel free to make up whatever you want for raises.
Okay, and no problem. So yeah. So because I have fucking 5 raises for 2 raise tasks, right? 1 to get across and 1 to avoid the rickety plank.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 2 to do that, and then 3 just you know, showmanship.
Alrighty, yeah. Everybody's like,
I'm gonna spend my 3rd to get across a little bit faster than her. No showmanship, just straight workman's there and done.
yeah, sure, that works for me. I'll do it. Yeah, everybody's very impressed by it. Like, man, she should be a Usuran gymnast or something like that. She just pirouettes across the rickety old board. All right, time for roll number 2 as yet another large pit full of mud. Only this time, no balance going on here. You gotta jump across and grab a rope. It's gonna be the same as many races as you want to get across, and it's 1 to not fall in the mud and get all embarrassed.
This is so dumb. But I just imagine like just swinging across and start singing "Wrecking Ball." It's so dumb. So yeah, it's like, you know, you said you were doing faster, so you pulled the lead.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Is there
about
a
it.
race between us? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's kind of a race going on.
Oh yeah. Whatever. All eyes on me. Doesn't matter if I win, they'll still pay more attention to me.
I will just use the same athletics finesse, then I'll spend a hero point for an extra die.
Okie doke.
Grab it and again.
Hot damn.
It's 1, 2, 3 with 1 spare die.
Alright.
Hey, give me that spare die.
Okay.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Alright.
Okie doke. So takes 2. Oh yeah, sorry. Give me yours, Sabine, before I.
Oh, I was okay. So like as he's rushing and jumping, grabbing the rope and swinging, I'm like watching. You know, like because he's ahead of me, so I'm watching to see if there's any other trip ups on this thing beforehand. Before like I rush and like I'm going to like swing multiple times before I like do a somersault and try to stick the landing, playing up that Eucerian gymnast thing. So I feel like this is probably athletics and panache.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's different skill. 4, 7, different skill 8. 7, different skill, new skill 8, flare 9, dramatic wound 10. I probably rolled 1 less last time. All right, let's see.
Ay, Dios mío.
Mm,
4, I see.
Let's see. 4. No, the 7's already out there. 3.
What? You can rearrange the dice? That's crazy.
And I get to re-roll the 1. So. Alright. That's better. 5. 5. 1. 4. Let's see. I have 1, 2, 3 4s. Only 2 of them are used.
Hey, John Wick. I just like to talk to you real quick about your philosophy of like, this rolling system being really great for keeping people in the action and making things go by real quick.
It's a lot easier sometimes. I think I can only get 4 raises total out of this. So 8 and 3. Right. I've got a 3 left over. Let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I've got 1 die left over.
Okay, would you like to spend that? Cause 3 to get across unscathed.
Do you want to buy the die first?
I don't. Let me get rid of these 6 danger points before I greedily look for more. Okay, so it's 3 to complete this without getting all dirty. So unless
I thought it was only 2.
Yeah, it's 2 to get across, because, you know, the difficulty escalates, and it's 1 extra not to get all dirty. I did say that earlier, but I misspoke. So.
Okay, so those are the what are they? Complications or the consequences? Okay.
Yeah.
Getting dirty, no problem. So yeah, 3 to get across. 2 to succeed, 1 to avoid getting dirty, and then 1 to keep their attention on me. I think I think more people are going to be watching me than Leon.
Okay.
So much so they might not even see him finish.
Yeah, Leon maintains that comfortable lead, but you know everybody's just really interested in what Sabine's doing right now. She's like a ribbon dancer as she's in a circus as she's going over that pit. It's very impressive. She dismounts and the 2 of you are met with like a 20-foot tall wooden wall with various inlets for hands and feet as you guys are tasked with climbing up that and ringing a bell.
Well, approach this with jumping up the wall.
All right, you know what? I'm actually going to spend a hero point and help you.
And actually, I was going to do that as well. I was going to spend a hero point on myself and spend another on camaraderie to tell you to hurry up, Slowpoke, as I'm jumping up the wall.
I don't think that's helping, but okay. I was just going to give you a footrest and help push you up part of the way.
Well, with the camaraderie, it doesn't actually have. It just has to be I'm here, moral support type deal, or moral competition type stuff.
I was going to say, it's like, yeah. Well, regardless, get 4 extra dice. It's like, gee, you're welcome.
And then here's the one for my own hero point. Let's see, 10. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 5 with a spare die.
I wonder what do I stick with more dice or do I try a new approach? All right. This might be dumb, but I'm going to try and suss out the wall to try to see I'm trying to use width plus notice to look to see what footholds are intentionally loose and which ones are the stable ones, so I can figure out the best path up there.
I'll let you do that, but it's gonna count as improvisation to actually climb up the wall.
What does that mean?
It means it's gonna take you an extra dice to do.
Well, what if I do brawn plus notice? It's the same dice. I mean, that's the trait. My traits are the same.
Yeah, I'll do bronze plus notice.
I'm just trying to be flavorful.
I get you.
Yeah. All right. This is a terrible idea because I'm giving up so much dice. So that's 3, 4 from you, right?
Yep.
7. New skill 8. Dramatic wound 9. Flavor 10. Okay.
Yeah, so you're not giving up any dice at all.
Well, I would have been rolling more if I used other skill. All right.
I see 4. I think I see 4.
It's probably going to come out to that. So 5, 7, 2, 1. 8. What haven't I used? There's another 2, and I think a 6. So, yeah. 2 dice left over.
Okay, doke. And how many did Leon get?
5.
Hey!
So, 3 to get up the wall.
Yep.
Is there any consequences to avoid on this?
Nope,
Just
all
go up
3
the wall.
are getting up and making sure that you don't fall back down, basically.
Then 1 will be to draw their attention from Sabine to me, since I'm using panache. And the last will be to get up there even faster. So it's like I have a 40-foot lead while she was playing around.
Well, I'm going to spend a hero point to use Fascinate to capture the attention of the head judge.
All right, so how fascinating is this climb up a wall?
Oh, it's very fascinating. As I'm whipping my hair back, and like, tightening up my shirt. It's like I'm gonna lean back and just blow a kiss.
Now, I would just like to say that that's absolutely the right thing to do, because the book talks about how in like Montaigne, you're never supposed to like fight for victory. You're always supposed to like show off before you do anything.
I'm well aware.
Yeah, so our boy Leon manages to take this one.
He totally wins. I used my 3 to get up the wall and complete it, and my leftover raise is what I'm gonna like as I'm standing on top of the wall. Just my whipping my hair in the wind. Then I'll heal that dramatic wound.
There we go. It's that thing where Leon gets down and everybody's like, oh my god, that was so amazing, oh my god. And he's like, yes, I know. And everybody goes right past him and like lifts Sabine up on their shoulders.
Yeah, I'm gonna like just do like the trust fall back into their arms.
Perfect. And then with that, Herr Richard and Herr Rob, your characters, last ones of the day, up on that craft.
So, let's go into this.
Oh, these little icons.
Loser buys the beer.
Deal.
Also, who the heck is typing?
That's strike 2, mister.
Alright. Shall we proceed with rolling, Chris?
Let us proceed with our approaches.
Okay. Well then.
Armand, having seen earlier competitors stagger when they hit the loose boards, will attempt to notice and finesse his way across.
That's pretty slick.
Sounds good.
Well, Renee's been doing, his push-ups. He's been eating his Wheaties. He's actually pretty solid at athletics, so he's going to, just do a pretty straightforward athletics and finesse check to get across there. Because he's seen how much Armand drinks, and he does not want to have to pick up that tab.
Sounds good. Look at these finesse boys.
That's a lot of finesse.
Okay. Trying to think, would we get... oh, hey, Rob, do you want to trade hero points?
Don't you think we ought to save that for...
The hard one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do that then. Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah, it's only...
Well, this is awkward. I have the 3D dice enabled, so I can just glance at it and make it easier to figure out. But it's in this really terrible blue color, where it's hard to tell to just look at and read because of the black dye or the writing. Oh well.
Let's see. You got
Let's see here. I'm not looking on my on the Roll20 chat now.
I think I'm
This is
5 and no dice left.
Hey, nice.
So we got 7 and 3 is 1, 5 and 6 is 2.
I see
7 and
3,
3 is
4.
2.
I'm counting 4 with the dice left over.
Yeah,
Unless you guys
I count
got
the
see
same.
something better.
I count the same. You got 2 7s and 3s, 5 and a 6, and a 6 and an 8.
Okie doke. So, 1 to get across, 1 to get out clean, and then guys got your extra dices, your extra raises to muck about with. Every raise that you spend to get ahead gets you ahead 1 raise. But, you know, you can do whatever else you want with them.
You also... So, GM, quick question. With the when you have the level 3 skill, you get to reroll 1 die. How are you doing that? You have to take the reroll or not?
You don't have to take it.
Okay.
All right, let's see here. So you're saying it takes 2 to just succeed without any penalties?
Yes.
Okay. He's probably gonna, let out like a war cry as he like barrels down the across the beams as quickly as possible.
And he wibbles, he wobbles, but he doesn't fall down.
Indeed. So that's a net 2.
And Armand will spend 2 to get across, 2 to tie himself with Renee in the race, and his final one in an act of musketeer camaraderie will usher Armand ahead.
Oh, really? Excellent.
Alrighty, then we move to the second challenge, where when we saw it with Sabine and Leon, it was early in the day and these ropes were nice and clean, but now they are slick with mud, and I spend 1 danger point. So you guys will have to make sets of 15 instead of 10 to properly grip onto these ropes.
Oh dear. Hey, Rob, real quick before we get into that. How Renee's been hanging out with Armand for a bit. How obvious is it to him that Armand's holding back a little bit? Would you think he'd be able to notice it?
Wasn't so much holding back as just the act of camaraderie. Come on, let's go forth together.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I thought you were like maybe holding back a little bit because I don't know. Maybe Renee's not as wealthy as used to be or something. But okay, we're good. We're good. So let's see here. So, refresh my memory. Do we need to change our approach?
You
Yes,
don't need to. You just roll less dice if you try doing the same approach, don't you?
Well, you'd get one less, but
Yeah.
actually, Chris, since I forgot to add my bonus die from the last one, could I add
Yeah.
it to this one instead?
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you, man. Okay, and also, Renee's going to spend a hero point and to give Armand a bonus die or 4 die, and be like, "You got this, man. Let's do this.
Well,
One hand at a time."
Armand will return the favor of the hero point.
Oh, there they are.
And I believe Armand will look for a clean place to grab the rope and try and look good while he's doing it. Panache and notice.
Okie doke.
Let's see.
I'm imagining like you and I are like, what's his name, Legolas and Aragorn at the end of the two towers, where Legolas is just standing around like pristine with like no mud on him, and like Viggo Mortensen's just standing beside him like covered in like mud and shit.
16.
Oh, I see. Just did the +4.
That's 3.
Oh wait, you said we needed 15 to do it, right?
Yep.
This is true.
Dadgum.
Oh, yeah.
I've been calculating this wrong. We'll have to start over again.
All right. So I was helping I got to at least 3 for Renee.
I got 5 for Renee, but
Okay.
I'm dumb, so
We'll go with
I'm
that
in there.
because I hate calculating this. That's the one thing I don't like about this system.
It's a lot easier when you're using physical dice. It's
Ah.
so much easier when you're using physical dice. That's why I do the regular type and drag them over there. But like, I wish when I dragged them over there, it took them out of the chat scroll.
Gotcha. Hey, Chris, didn't you say there was like some sort of program that does this automatically for us?
Oh wait, there is.
Yeah, BP linked one a while back. I'll see if I can.
Yeah, my buddy Rich mentioned it this week.
Let me go through 2 months of chat in the other game to see.
Luckily, this was just a couple days ago, so it's pretty fresh.
Yeah.
So I can
All right,
find
I'll let
it.
him do it.
Yeah,
You
or we
convinced me.
could just like hold off on that till the next session since we're already so deep into this one.
If you're online, there you go.
Anyway, so I've got 5. How many do you have, Rob?
Yeah, I'm still working on that.
Okay.
Here's a 15.
Let's see. Calculate raises. Oh wow. Yeah, this is a very good dice roller.
So, I guess 3, right?
Surely more than that.
Yeah. So 10 and 5 is 1.
Right. 8 and 7's 1.
Right. 8 and 7's 1. Let's see. Then you've got the 2 becomes a 3, so 12, 13, 14, 15. So 3 4s into 3 is third one. Then you have another 9 and 8, so that's a fourth one.
Oh yeah.
And then you have 8 and a 3 left over, it looks like.
Yep, I think that's right.
Okie doke, so I think
4, I think.
Yep.
With 2 dice.
so I think Renee manages to catch back up with Armand on his comfortable lead.
Do you want to buy any of their dice there, GM?
Nah.
Oh, since they spent all the hero points.
Nah, I'm okay.
So cruel.
As these 2 brave heroes round up on the last obstacle, which is the big wooden wall, which, oh no, is also just absolutely covered in mud.
Unfortunate.
I guess we'll have to do 15s again.
Well, you know what? I'm going to do a little. I'm gonna pull a Kobayashi Maru on this, and I'm going to let out a whistle as I approach this, and my horse is gonna ride up. And I'm going to leap on the back of my horse, and then, like, you know, as it's charging towards the wall, I'm going to leap off the back of that and, like, grab up, you know, so, like, I'm near the top, and then just pull myself up the last few handholds to the top.
Perfect.
And that should give me a hero point for using my horse to solve an unusual situation.
Hey, yeah, totally.
I love it.
I'm using the Airbud justification where it's like, well, there's no rules that say you can't use a horse to complete the obstacle course.
You got us. It's a heck of a move by a heck of a player.
Okay, so I guess that'd be finesse and riding.
Yep.
Love it.
And so climbing a wall, something Armand has some experience with from his previous career. He would like to try finesse and theft.
I'll take it.
It's like, do you have second story work?
I don't, unfortunately.
Yeah. I was like, I wish I had that. Oh well.
Just for this instance.
I mean, many instances probably. But...
Yeah, I'm sure
Like-
they'll never come across a rooftop in Montaigne.
Hey, Chris, I got a quick question for you that may not be relevant.
Okay.
On the dice roller, it says add 1 to each die. Do you have any idea why it says that?
Because if you take Academy or a
Academy,
few other things,
University.
it increases your die value by 1 point.
Okay, so that implies to the trait die as well?
I believe so.
Yeah, it adds to all
Excellent.
dice rolled for that, whatever it is.
I thought it was just you add another die to it.
No, it adds +1 to the dice.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah, it's a little bit more useful than just a spare die.
Okay, so I'm rolling 3 for the trait, 3 for the skill, 1 for the first time using this, right?
Correct.
And 1 for flavor.
Chris?
Not 1 for flavor.
I thought flavor die were only a thing in first edition.
No, flavor dye is definitely a thing in this edition.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, as long as they say as long as you describe something dramatically, you generally got a bonus dice.
Oh, Interesting.
All right. According to this thing, I have
It's called flair.
3 raises total.
3 raises
Yes, sir.
with the 15.
With the 15, yes, sir.
Okie doke. Then you make it up and complete your task.
And I think I have 3 and 2 dice left.
Ah! So these two friends just managed to tie each other.
When you're the best of friends.
Well, good work, and Simon, after a long day's work, he gives you all an applause, and, says, good work, it looks like you're, physically capable enough, but more importantly, you realize the true purpose of this test, which is that you're never actually in competition with another musketeer, and that you're always supposed to help
look at each other, raising glasses.
Yeah,
Blink.
so everybody gets a hero point for helping out their comrades.
Excellent.
And nobody...
Hey, what about the time that,
Good.
like recently, where they actually were in competition with each other, and they had to stop the captain of the Musketeers from assassinating the Emperor?
Yeah, that was crazy. Anyway. Yeah, everybody gets a hero point. Nobody gets any dramatic wounds for getting scolded for not being team players. Excellent work, Musketeers. But of course, the whole year was not one obstacle course. Friends were also made this year as well. Let us hear the story about how Sabine and Renee came to be tight homies.
Well, maybe we kind of knew each other a little bit from when we were in the Nightingales, but we weren't that close up until recently.
Sure.
Yeah.
I probably, is Renee, a man that enjoys himself, enjoys relaxing and going out on the town.
Oh, okay. My mind went somewhere else. He's probably, before, when he had money, when he was flush with cash, probably he enjoyed, relaxing in town and stuff. But
what about
these
flush with
days-
other people's cash?
Possibly. Although he's going to be peeling a lot of potatoes. But let's say
No.
that he's got at least one knife. Yeah.
My friend Pierre, he's volunteered to peel the potatoes for you tonight. You're coming out with me.
Okay.
You're always peeling potatoes, and you never realize that you could just always get somebody else to do that for you. You need to relax. You had a hard day climbing through the mud. Let's go have some fun.
And then our scene shifts to Pierre just in a very, politically incorrect and very offensive outfit of Renee. And, the commanding officer walks in to make sure Renee's still in there, and he sees Pierre, and he's like, good, keep peeling potatoes, and walks out. But continue,
then.
please.
Actually, let me ask you this. What do you think sort of motivated her to be like, okay, this guy, he needs to come party with us?
Don't know.
Actually, I've got an idea. Does your character have any ranks in Ride?
Yeah, from the Musketeer background, I think we all have a rank and ride.
Okay, but since we're getting that training now, before that, was she like a equestrian at all?
She's ridden, but she's never, not like expert training wise, because she's, had to, flee some places a couple times, and it's faster on horseback.
Okay, well, I was just thinking if that was maybe like a hobby or.
It was very impressive. So, you displayed showmanship. So how could I not appreciate that?
Cool. Yeah, we could, and I'd be like, well, that climbing was, That was awesome. Yeah.
Well,
So-
I had some moral support, as you may have heard.
Yeah. And so yeah, so that's the sort of the impetus for them to be like, okay, let's go hang out together.
Yep.
Hokely dokely.
Cool.
Yep. Take you to a ball and try to hook you up with someone if you're up for it.
He's probably not going to be up for it for like character background reasons, which we're going to get into later, right, Chris?
Of course.
Yeah.
But for now, let's hear the story of how Armand and Leon bonded.
Well, in his free time, Leon enjoys throwing knives.
That's true.
Like, not
That's
over that.
you can read about that.
That is actually part of my backstory.
I forgot about that.
Leon
Well, and
likes just
Armand also favors the knife.
so possibly we just sit there throwing knives in a competition for hours at a time over trying to outdo each other.
That sounds good to me. Who
Pierre, put this apple on your head.
Hold my beer and watch this.
Okay.
All right, hold this frying pan in this angle.
Alrighty. Just stand over here. This blindfold?
Yep.
Okay. Which of the commanding officers do you have a picture of on your dartboard?
Oh, I probably have a. Let's see. I actually don't know any of my. I have a picture of a hand-drawn picture of Eugene up there.
Ugh, Eugene, the worst.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck that guy. But
Yeah, we'll meet Eugene one day.
yeah. And I'm sure that picture will be up just the right place so he can see it.
Yeah, every once in a while when Luis comes to visit, he walks by and he's like, and walks on. And the final year is upon us. Our soon-to-be Musketeers have been working hard for 2 years, and the manual labor they have to do is now cut down to only 3 hours a day, as the rest is put towards study and, team bonding exercises. You have to get a river without using your hands, stuff like that. Trust falls. You do a lot of interpretive dance together, I imagine. But yeah, today it's all this year actually. Manual labor, yes. Yeah, tragic for him. The war in speaking of Castile, the war is going fantastic. The major border strongholds that everybody's very worried about last year are now firmly under Montaigne control, as Montague has made quick work of them and is now in the heartland of Montaigne, and everybody's oh so proud and enamored with that glorious man. But yeah, this year is much the same. You guys are really refining your investigative skills under Simon. Some courtiers are coming in to teach you guys the finer points of court and how to deal with nobles and foreign nobles and all this stuff. And this is really when you guys start coming into your own. The big news is that this year, the administrator for Le Chateau de la Vie, he stepped down from office, and in his place came a a bright-eyed young lady by the name of Louise. As I slowly managed to get... There we go. Louise de Beaufort was assigned as the new administrator to Le Chateau de la Vie. She's about 25 years old, and she is young and beautiful. Her story is basically she was like too competent to be in the normal court because, you know, she would threaten older people with tenure and stuff like that. So the Emperor gave her the honor of being the administrator of the old Imperial Chateau, which is usually renownedly seen as a, you know, very polite way of getting you out of everybody's hair. Yeah, it's an honor.
Am I related to her?
On your father's side, you could be.
Okay. All right then.
There we have it.
Maybe like distant cousins or something.
Yeah, totally. You know, all the nobles were inbred anyway, so. Yeah, second cousins.
All right then.
But yeah, she's introduced to you guys all the only 15 recruits are left after the second year. Everybody else was like, oh, too fat, couldn't cut it, you know, the usual. So yeah, the remainder 15 of you guys are all standing at attention as Miss Beaufort is brought before everybody. Led by Captain Jean-Marie, who's back for the, you know, back for the spring before he gets sent back to Castiel. You know, looking at everybody's progress, kind of proud at the scruffy bunch of you who grew up to become fine young men and lady. But yeah, Jean-Marie's leading her around and comes across you guys and, you know, gives you all the nod that tells you to stand at attention and give some respect to the fine lady before you. And once he sees everybody snap together, he gives a slight bow towards Luis and says, I wish to present to everybody the new administrator for the chateau. She gives a polite curtsy. She has a long curly brown hair, goes down to her shoulder, very nicely styled. She's in the very nice 15 of 50, about a 70% washout rate. That's correct. Styled very nicely, as someone in her position should be. She's from the rich side of the family, you suspect, Mr. Rene. She's from the side of the family that's not foreigners, you suspect. And she gives a polite curtsy and tells everybody that she is eagerly looking forward to working hand in hand with the noble Musketeers and bringing the chateau back to its former glory. And with that, she heads off with Jean-Marie, and, you know, everybody doesn't think much of this encounter until we look over at Armand, who is currently picking his tongue back off the ground as at his first encounter with the vision that was Louise. But you know, unrequited love was not the only thing made in the final year of our musketeer travels. People also made a few enemies along the way, like Renee and Leon. Something happened this year that just really stoked a fire between the two of you, and you know, passions haven't cooled down ever since. Tell me of how the two nobles in the group came to hold ire against one another.
Really?
First of all, who's like clipping their fingernails into their microphone?
Oh, sorry, my mic is very sensitive.
It's all good, man. You were saying, man, Jared?
I'm not sure. Do you have any ideas?
I'm sorry, Chris. I lost track. Who is it that think Luis is hot?
Oh, Armand?
Oh, okay. Never mind then. You know what? Maybe I don't know. Maybe we got into an argument about our old college football teams, and what should have been just like a friendly little banter turned to ugly somehow. You know, maybe one or both of us had too much to drink, and we just started
Easier.
wailing on each other.
Well, there's not really any wailing in Montaigne. It's all passive aggressive.
True. Well,
But
I'm thinking heavily
It could have
inebriated.
been army versus cavalry.
Oh yeah, could be. Or
Even
you
though
know,
my older brother's cavalry, but
yeah, that could definitely be it. Or maybe since we're both nobles, maybe our families have like kind of a rivalry thing. So, or maybe it could be both.
it's probably a little bit of both, especially since your family is currently in favor, and I was raised up being told how those nobles who bought their way to power aren't real nobles and don't deserve it, and how it's the families who were knights when the country was being founded that are the only ones that should be recognized by the emperor.
Oh yeah, that definitely set him off. Yeah. Okay, so maybe
Yeah.
he like overheard you saying something like that in like a tavern or something, and then he just like flipped out, and y'all we started going at each other, you know, verbally.
Oh yeah.
Started doing the dozens.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I can hear your purse clinking.
Love
Yeah. Yeah. There you go, Chris.
You said that like you like threw a fish on, like, in front of a butcher shop or something like that. There you go. There's your story. Now eat it.
Yeah.
But those weren't the only passions that flamed brightly this year. Armin and Sabine also almost or did come to blows this year. And how'd that go down? Refresh my memory.
So, Armand, what are your feelings about the Castile? Yins.
He's not crazy about them.
All right, well, would you actively, vocally disparage them?
Sure. After the almost invasion of the capital.
Well, I mean, the emperor brought that on by, declaring our country atheist. You know, he clearly invited them to invade. This is clearly what he wanted.
And Armand, a little bit known to anyone else, being an atheist himself, fuzzes up at that. And, well, of course he ran them out. We don't need them here.
No. Okay, you godless heathen.
And so, yeah, rather than coming to blows, they just have a grand theological argument that goes on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah, and everybody runs out of the barracks in horror as these two just get louder and louder.
Probably worship the devil like all those port mages.
Yeah, don't say that around Leon.
Yeah.
Well,
Leon is
find
important age.
I find it funny that you said that me and Leon were friends and me and Armand would have the rivalry. I'm like, I would have it the other way around. Me and Armand would probably get along.
That's honestly, like, when I said it across, I was like, oh my god, the two nobles are gonna hate each other, and, like, the two peasants are gonna hate each other. Like, what are the chances?
I kind of like that though.
It
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I'm with the people. King sucks. Ability's the worst.
Well, you know, it's all a case-by-case issue, isn't it, really? Yeah. Anyway. So, yeah, everything goes swimmingly that last year. Your like, really final trial is that they, you know, everybody gets into a cart, right? And they, you know, drive you guys off to the border with Eisen. And then they drop you off the cart. And they're like, all right, you got 2 weeks to get back to Charus. See you then. And so, no raise is necessary, as we are entering the eve of today's session, but go ahead and tell me what sort of, how you guys managed to outwit Mother Nature herself, that fat old hag, and managed to get your butts back to Charus in only 2 weeks' time. No weapons, no supplies. You were just brought with the clothes on your back and thrown out there.
No
So,
horses.
are we by ourselves, each individually?
We're gonna say it's you were dropped off in groups of 5. 3 groups of 5 are seated throughout the Eisen border. And who's that 5th man? None other than Pierre himself.
Oh, excellent.
Hey everybody, happy to be here.
Let's just walk right on through athletics and resolve.
No, that's silly. Let's go to the nearby river and get a boat.
A boat.
Or a ship, if you prefer.
Would you mind pinging where on the Eisen border we are?
I don't think this is meant to be a super involved thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just...
Let's say...
Are we by the river? Or... Okay. So it's a big walk to even get to that little river there on...
okay. I'll tell you what. I'll
Turbo.
take point on this. And how about we take turns describing what each of us does for the group, and then so it's like a team effort. So like for instance, I've got intimidate, so maybe I could convince one of a farmer or a traveling merchant to give us a ride to the nearest town, and then we can hand it off to whoever's next.
Maybe that town is on the other side of the border, and our thief steals us some horses.
You want to
yeah.
go east to go west.
Nearest civilization from where they dropped us off.
We were right there. Like right at the U for Charus. So wouldn't it be easier just to walk through that forest to Provorve?
Well, there's probably villages along the way too. So, regardless, thief can still steal horses no matter where.
Or you could just...
Yeah, I'd just rather steal them from the Eisen than from our commoners.
It's not.
We could just
stealing.
convince them. Well, yeah, we don't have to steal them. We could just convince them to let us use them.
It's reappropriation.
We do have authority now, but
I commandeer this horse in the name of the crown.
or I could just use a convince and panache to talk somebody into letting us have their horse and That way we all just get in one cart and we can go 19 hours a day or whatever, just resting just enough to rest the horse. We could get back in 4 or 5 days. Never mind the 2 weeks.
I mean, I'm not opposed to stealing from the Eisen, but we should do that first, probably.
But I'm saying why? Because remember, the border is the mountains there, so we'd have to cross the mountains to even get to the Eisen, which is a huge deal on its own.
I'm pretty sure Chris said that we were specifically dropped off in Eisen.
No, just on the border.
Yeah, in
my
the
apologies.
woods.
So we walk 5 feet to the left. I mean, there's probably some also towns along the village anyway, so.
Yeah, so we're sort of in the woods there at the foot of the mountains, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so we could do this big mountain crossing, which is an issue on its own.
Well, they probably have some mountain villages, so we steal from them.
But we're in the woods on the far. Why are we going to cross?
There's a nearby town that's not that
it's
far from us, and it's not on the other side of the mountains. We just made this.
It's not an Eisen town. What I'm saying is, Chris said. Okay. I just feel like you're, because right here's the border, the mountains, and the woods, and all of this is part of Monte.
We're just trying to play off our man's idea because he doesn't want to steal from his countrymen because he's a peasant. He doesn't want to steal from the peasantry.
But my point is, we don't have to steal from them.
Yeah,
we can just get them to let us use a horse and a cart.
Well, yes, but
it's not stealing if you say, "What's your name?" We'll get it back to you when we can.
Or if we could just, I don't know, hire a guy too.
Yeah, or that too. Just convince him to let us pay him after we get to where we're going.
Sucker.
There's no particular reason we have to steal.
Well, you know, from Sabine's point of view, like if that was her, those horses are never coming back. So like that's why she would think Armand probably feels the same. I don't know if he does or not.
Well, either way, we'll just go to the nearest town and convince someone.
If we cross into Eisen and steal, that's an act of war.
I mean,
really?
It's an act of banditry.
It's an act of banditry, but because we're musketeers.
Yeah, but we're not fully musketeers yet.
Look, all I'm saying is those are some big ass mountains. I'm not crossing them. Let's just go to the town. We'll get the horses one way or the other. We'll be on our way.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I'm arguing in character.
Oh, naturally. I just know what's getting
I'm
kind of
a
late.
noble, and I don't do anything that could shame my name or cause an issue, an international incident.
Gotcha. Okay, Chris. So, I assume I can use my intimidate, and we hitch a ride over to the town.
Of course.
Excellent. Okay. Now, do we want to hire someone to take us back to the what is it? The chateau in return for payment later, or do we want to try to hitch a ride? Or do you guys want to try to steal a horse?
I will try to convince / panache to talk the guy into it.
Into accepting payment later?
Yep. And I'll spend my hero point there to get a bonus die.
Okay. Does that work for you, Chris?
Yeah.
That's 4 raises.
To help the Musketeers, of course. I will tell my grandchildren about this. Hop on board.
Excellent.
So how big of a tip do you give this guy when he gets back to get you back to the city?
I mean, we all have like 3 wealth, right?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I did not take wealth as one of my advantages. So.
Well, no, I thought you could choose like a job, and then that you sort of assumed you get money from that, kind of like how my guy's in the cavalry or was. So he'd get money from that.
Okay, this is the first time I played 2nd edition. I didn't see that anywhere.
That may be
what
true.
It says in the
I'm
book
not
is wealth starts at 0 at each session, and
Yeah.
storyteller awards it.
Oh, does it?
Yep.
I might have misunderstood it. Then I'll have to go back and reread that.
It's a given you make enough to have an apartment and make your basic living expenses.
Yeah, but like wealth is very big.
Yeah. I believe it says you can do that. However, you've been recruits of the Musketeers for like 2 years, so any pocket change you had with you is gone.
We get room and board, so
yeah. The Musketeers get paid like a pittance.
Well,
soldiers, because they get a commission.
Yeah.
Once you're an actual musketeer.
Yeah.
Well, Leon and I are both nobles, so we could probably open up a line of credit to help pay this guy.
Yeah. That sounds good to me, but yeah, you guys get there with time to spare, and Pierre's like, we did it, guys, all of us together as a team. But especially
only
Pierre.
two of us did it.
Well, the rest of us were there for moral support.
Yeah.
I didn't even get a chance. I was already a ride in luxury in a captain's cabin.
Oh, dude, you totally roll finesse and weaponry to fight off those bandits that attacked us.
I remember that.
Yeah. There were hundreds of them.
Yeah, you guys arrived. The only team. Everybody else, didn't show up. Died. Got in late. It happens. So
fucked off and moved to Eisen.
That's right. So the 90% passing rate for, or fail rate for the Musketeer Academy holds true. But now, through the trials and tribulations, only the finest of Musketeers are left standing. Leon, Renee, Armin, Sabine, Pierre. Only the finest that Montaigne has to offer. But especially
that darn Pierre.
And everything is headed off with an exciting series of written tests and speeches given before a panel of Musketeers. After that exciting adventure, everybody, just to make sure everybody's not dumb a second time. Sabine's sweating bullets as she goes in, but
Nope, I got Pierre wrapped around my finger. I'm good.
You're right. Everything goes fine, and you 5 manage to
wrote down all the answers.
manage to win the day and pass. So they, after that they have you yes, the dreaded Musketeer thesis paper. One of the favorite stories that one of my professors told me is that he handed in his thesis paper to a professor, and he felt it in his hand for the weight, and he said, "You pass," and put the paper down.
Awesome.
That's an interesting grading system.
So yeah, you guys are dressed in the same outfits that you arrived in the academy 3 long years ago, and are escorted to a part of Charus, which used to be very nice, but it's kind of been overrun as the industrial district now. But it's I believe it's the Temple of the Order of Knights, the original, someplace Leon's probably very proud of. Basically the monument to all the original paladins who helped found Montaigne as a nation at the very start. And so you guys are brought here, the 5 of you, Pierre included. brought for your initiation finally, as you guys go to the order. A good collection of musketeers are here awaiting your induction. John Marie among them, along with Simon, who looks pretty proud of you guys. Simon the Quiet. They light one of the fires that's in the middle of the temple and have you guys stand all around it, and everybody stands in a circle. Then they get this very nice looking golden rope, and they tie all your hands together to signify, the unity of the Musketeers. As some of you are like, yeah, we're homies, and some of you are like, you fucking atheist. You like the Steelers, get out. Stuff like that. But yeah, everybody, just go ahead and make a straight up resolve test for me. Just because I'm crazy, I want to see if any of you are pussies. Not Leon.
Do it. Okay.
Can I use a hero point to get a bonus die?
Yeah, totally.
Actually, does anyone have crappy resolve? I can give them a bonus die. Yeah.
I think most players might have 2.
Yeah, I've got 2 as well. I'll give you a hero point, man. Because you're my bro. Oh wait, are you my bro? Yeah, I guess we are friends at this point.
I'll give someone a hero point too.
Yeah, you two are drinking buddies.
You got that.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe you should give Rob a
and we'll just
one since he's failing.
Yeah, I totally shoot Armand. After we did the whole, we had whispered our little conversation. I shoot him a wink. He goes, you got this.
Well, and I will continue the round robin.
So it looks like everyone's giving everyone a +4.
Right.
I got 3 raises.
Okay. I'll obviously give mine to Sabine and be like, come on, you can do it.
No, somebody already gave me one. Okay.
No. Okay. Never mind then.
But yeah,
Actually,
everybody got one.
Okay.
Perfect. So, perfect. That's like exactly how the book shows it. Armin's looking. That's some hot fire, man.
Pierre's on his own.
Yeah. Ow! The fire hurts so much. Someone help me. Yeah. Rob's kind of Armand's. That fire's pretty hot. And he's not really able to hold his hand over it, but with the help of his fellow musketeers, they all steal their eyes on him, and he feels at last he sees what Jean-Marie was talking about having something to fight for and someone to defend, and he sees that in the eyes of all his comrades, and he thinks, this is what it means to be strong, and he steels himself, and he keeps that hand over the fire. And now all that is left is for the 5 of you to recite the Oath of the Musketeer, which I have in handouts. And I want to make an absolute clusterfuck, and I just want everybody to say it at the same time.
It was like, is he really gonna make us say this out loud? Oh,
hell yeah.
We're recording this, so yeah, probably.
Do you okay, guys, on the count of 3 then?
All right.
And if I swear to God, if one person says state your name, I will instantly kick you from this game.
So much.
Okay, there goes that.
Yeah. Okay, on 3. 1, 2. On this
day, I, Leon Nicolay,
do my
pledge
allegiance
to the sun.
May the light be my guide now and forever.
I'll resist
Yeah,
temptation.
temptation, and honest in all matters.
Honest in all matters.
May my sword and halberd remind me of
who I am,
responsibility I bear.
and the responsibility I bear.
May
May
the
my
soul
May my soul be
be brave
and
and my arm strong.
Here I am,
free of
free of
greed
greed
and
and
hate.
hate.
Here I
Here I
am,
am,
standing by my brothers.
All for one and one.
All
All
for
for one, and one
And
for
one
all.
for all.
Oh yeah. Ooh, that was that good RP. Ooh man. Ugh. Take that with
Now
a
let us
snifter
go
of
drink
brandy
and
and
celebrate.
Laissez le bon temps rouler.
yeah, and you all take your graduation caps off and whoo, throw them in the air.
So, I mean, we just
They all
hold our
have big
swords up.
peacock feathers.
You know, they all have peacock feathers. Yeah, and as you guys do that oh so good rendition of the Musketeers oath, you know, you boys come around and each throw a blue tabard over your head. It's blue and has the seal of the Montaigne family on it, so it's a sun with a face on it. Then they untie you all from the cords and present you with a finely made rapier that has no ornamentation on it. It's very simple. And they also hand everybody a musket, which has a silver fleur-de-lis enameled into the hilt of it. And John Marie looks at all of you proudly, and Chris reads chat. Says, "Today you are all at last musketeers." And then we're all magically teleported to back to Le Chateau de la Vie. By magically, I mean like thematically through the power of storytelling and medium. I don't mean magically like someone ripped open a hellhole in space and time and pushed you all through.
Important distinction for this setting.
Yeah. So it's a few days later, and Jean-Marie stands before you all, proud as a father,
Revelry cut short.
looking at his babies. He says, "All right, today I will assign you all, your assignments for your coming years as a musketeer. You've all worked valiantly together, but the current needs of the nation will see you all split apart. Some of you will be sent to Castile to face the war, and some of you will be sent to the country to deal with the concerns of the little folk. None of these are more important than the others. These are simply the duties of the musketeers." He takes out, his envelopes, and he puts his reading glasses on. And he says, "All right, first person, Armand." And as he says this, a absolutely gorgeous blonde young lady comes into the courtyard.
Wait.
She is the height of fashion. Her hair perfectly made up, her face also perfectly made up in pale makeup, bright ruby lips, long eyelashes. She walks forth, and it doesn't even look like her legs are moving. It's just like she's floating on the ground that she walks on. Could be a vampire. Absolutely could be. But you guys recognize this as Anne du Montaigne, one of the middle daughter of Le Emperor, and also the wife of Jean-Marie. And she comes in and throws her arms up in the air and says, "Good morning, boys. Sabine. Everybody tell me that I am the most beautiful woman you've ever seen, or you will be dealing with farmer problems for the next 30 years. And she waits patiently for the compliments to start flowing in. Jared, go.
You are indeed the most beautiful woman I have seen in quite a long time.
Excellent. Richard,
Leave
go.
me.
He doesn't really say anything. He just like reaches into his back pocket and brings out like a picture of her and asks her to autograph it.
And with a flourish, she delivers.
Excellent. This is going back on my bunkhouse wall.
Armin, go.
Armand gives a bow. Madame, obviously the sun rises and sets for you.
Sabine, go.
Mademoiselle, words can never truly express the radiance that stands before me. Your hair doesn't shine like the sun shines like your hair. The ocean is reflected in your eyes.
Yeah, give yourself a hero point for that.
You're truly blessed just to be graced with your presence here today.
And, you know, she blushes and says, yes, thank you. Now look at Jean-Marie like you are envious. Like you're the most envious people in the world. And she looks at you guys and goes, good. She claps her hands together and says, so, what are we up to right now? And Jean-Marie is like, oh, I was just signing them, you know, giving them assignments, sending them off to war, and, you know, it's a solemn duty. And she goes, yes, you know, obviously these 5 soldiers. She looks at Pierre, noting that he didn't comment on how beautiful she was. You know, obviously the nation could use 5 capable men and lady such as this. We'd be remiss to not use them to his full potential. And she kind of turns away from you guys, and she's like, well, listen, I need these guys. And he's like, what? And Jean-Marie turns to you and goes, 1 second. And they walk off about like 10 feet away and have a heated argument. And eventually Jean-Marie walks away, and you guys see Anne smiling as he walks away. And he says, okay, new plans. Anne's hosting a party next week, and she wants the 5 of you to attend it so you can mingle with the local nobles, because that is a very important mission.
Ooh, I would be honored.
And yeah, with that, Anne claps her hands together and she comes up to you and goes, excellent, I will assign you all my personal tailor.
More time with you, how could any of us ever refuse?
Good answers.
So yeah, I got like 5 raises to flirt with her.
Sabine on the fast track to execution.
No, just to flirt. I don't want to. I mean, unless
you're doing it in front of her husband, though.
Yeah.
Who is your boss?
Yeah.
On the other hand, Montaigne kind of encourages this.
Yeah, we are Montaigne.
Yeah.
I'm okay with him also being there. He's very handsome too.
Anyway, Chris, you were saying something?
Yeah, she's just telling you that she'll hook everybody up with her own personal tailor, and you know, to get you all ready. The purpose of the ball that you'll all be attending, she basically needs like 5 young, handsome musketeers to present in front of a bunch of old rich Montaigne nobles who are like too old for the court proper. You know, to get them to generously donate to the noble order of musketeers. And next week's session is where we'll take off with a party most dank. But as for this week, I bring this session to an end.